Here we go.
So cool. But this whole competition culminated in 3 challenges from Super Mario Odyssey, which I thought this was a really clever thing for Nintendo to do because A, obviously it's free promotion on their part. Like they're showing off their new game and like, oh, also it's out in 2 weeks. B, it showed us some new stuff in Mario, which you can see here. Cool. These are the challenges. So they did 3 really clever challenges. So the first one they did was this 8-bit 2D challenge.
Can you stand on that thing?
So here's the deal. So he's going to come out here and hit this POW block, and then it freezes them in place.
No, boy.
Yeah.
And this was a crazy thing that there's now a built-in like lore and history to Nintendo World Championships, because when John Numbers was falling behind, everyone was like, "Oh no, the champ is falling! Like, what's happening?" And Thomas just sort of kept going and going, and he figured out first, and it was this really cool moment in the room experience. Yeah,
but I think it's a really interesting way that they position this because it's 3 very disparate challenges.
Yes.
So you'll see this 8-bit one, right? And then the next thing that they showed was sort of this fork flick challenge, which if we're going to show it here, you basically needed to get Cappy.
Fork Mario?
Yeah, so you basically just needed to work your way up this tower, flicking your hat, possessing the fork stuff, and then like these little engines here throw the hat even further. So you'll see them do things like Mario will throw his hat into an engine, it'll connect with the fork, and then you can fling yourself up further. This to me,
this is so smart.
Well, and I think this is representative of 3 very different eras of Mario, right? So this feels a lot like Galaxy to me.
Yeah,
you know, whereas obviously the first challenge was more of an 8-bit challenge, and then the last challenge that they showed was sort of a classic N64 style level where you're navigating sort of this ice area, so it's very slick, and you had to kind of speed your way through there, and then use Cappy to capture bullet bills and wind your way through some columns. You'll see this here. And then eventually you wind up, see there's capturing the bullet bills, and then eventually you wind up facing off against a boss that reminded me a lot of Godhan from Wind Waker. It's a very cool boss encounter, and I just really like the way that they position these challenges to these guys.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was a very, very clever way on Nintendo's part to say like, here, this game really sort of has something for everybody. And also it looks to be pretty challenging, especially when you're trying to play it under the gun like this.
Yeah, the fact that they'd never seen any of these parts of the game before. Like they had hints of it, but I love that it was just
this
fresh
boss
for
is so
everyone.
cool.
Yeah, and so you capture its fists, and then you have to drive the fist into its face.
You got to make it punch itself.
Yeah.
I think this sort of answers some more questions that we have about this game too. We haven't seen a ton of bosses. This guy is very, like you said, very N64. But also like to throw back to what we saw a second ago, like we haven't seen a ton of like pure platforming stuff in this game.
Yeah.
A lot of it has been like New Donk City is an awesome playground, but it's also incredibly safe, and you can climb to the top of the tallest building and jump off and not lose health.
Yeah.
But this one, like in sort of like bottomless
You can
pits,
get out in the girders, and I know there's hard stuff out there, but we haven't seen it.
Exactly. So it's cool to see all that out in the margins of this game, because I think that's where it's going to get really challenging.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine the end of Super Mario Galaxy 2, like the final stars and stuff. The runs in that game were so hard. There's like the perfect run at the end of it.
Dude, my wife and I almost like 100%ed 3D World, but there's like 3 levels at the end that are just like incredibly.
I know the levels that you're talking about.
And we'll be sitting there some nights, and she'll be like, "Do you want to plug in the Wii U and get through those levels?" And I was like, "It's not happening. It's just not happening. I don't want to fight with you tonight. It's not happening. I love you. Let's stop."
So, while I think that this is a clever way to show off new Mario gameplay rather than just release like a gameplay specific trailer or a launch trailer, I am a little concerned, and I wanted to ask you guys today, have we seen too much of Super Mario Odyssey? At this point, they've done several directs. They've shown a ton of stuff on Treehouse. Right. They've revealed here, like in Nintendo World Championships. Like, do you feel like you've seen a lot of what Mario Odyssey has to offer, and does that diminish your excitement for it?
I feel like I've seen more going into this game than I have for any 3D Mario in the past. But I'm also looking more. Like specifically with Mario 64, and I've told this story on the show, I pre-ordered an N64 and Mario 64 and Pilot Wings, all of the launch titles. And I walked into Toys R Us and I saw the first Bowser fight in the game happening, and I just sort of like covered my eyes, like shielded myself, and kept walking. I was like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see anything. I don't want anything spoiled. I saw him grabbing Bowser by the tail and spinning around, and I was like, there's no way in hell you can do that. This is coming off of like, yeah, you can't do that in Super Mario World. This was the sequel to Super Mario World.
Right.
You know how insane that was? Yeah. So this game, different story. I work at IGN now. It's impossible to avoid almost anything. Some people here go into media blackouts on things.
I'm trying my best to do that for Star Wars right now.
Good luck.
Yeah.
But you know, like even when you're not looking, you're scrolling through Twitter and someone broke out a GIF, or you're on Instagram and there's a JPEG or something.
There's a lot of shirtless Marios all around.
Yeah, that was unavoidable. It's a beautiful sight though, so it's okay.
I hope it's like a great plateau. Like we saw a lot of Zelda, and it was an unfathomably bigger, more beautiful, more wonderful game than we could have ever imagined.
And I think that's the thing that isn't diminishing any of my excitement about it, is that I know just from playing the E3 demo that there are power moons littered across each of these kingdoms, just hidden all over the place. Like in tasks like we saw at the Nintendo World Championship, where you have to complete these insane platform segments. But then also there are just random characters that you'll complete something for that's literally just talking to them and be like, hey, you're a good pal. Here's a power moon.
I love that.
And it's like that kind of stuff that's just like,
that happened
I
in
wouldn't
Mario
have done
64 a little bit.
Yeah, random toads would be like, hey man, I'll kick you a star. You hustling out here.
But yeah, for me, I feel like we have seen a lot of this game, and probably more than I would have wanted, but it still feels like there's so much left to see. Like there are entire kingdoms that they have shown at most a screenshot or 2 seconds of footage of. Wherever Cappy comes from, I want to know the deep lore of the Cappy kingdom.
Like
that weird
his house.
Yeah, let's find out what happens.
Where his family is.
Yeah.
I think got a wife and kids back there.
You think Bowser has a hat that he uses that has a mind?
Yeah.
So you think it has a mind?
Maybe. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was our thoughts on Super Mario Odyssey at the Nintendo World Championship. Remember, you can tune in anytime you want over at youtube.com/Nintendo Voice Chat.